I never thought I'd say this, but I'm done with Nintendo. The company that defined my childhood, the one that made me fall in love with gaming, has completely lost me. Nintendo is a company that needs no introduction. The makers of Mario, Zelda, Metroid, Kirby, Star Fox, so many others. Names synonymous with fun and childhood nostalgia. I loved Nintendo. I grew up on Nintendo. My first console was a Wii, and I poured hours into Wii Sports, New Super Mario Bros. Wii, Super Mario Galaxy 2, which is still one of my favorite games of all time. I had the DS, the 3DS, the Wii U, the Switch. Nintendo was gaming to me. The first game I ever played was the original Super Mario Bros. Through the Wii's Virtual Console, and Super Mario Galaxy 2 is in my top 5 favorite games of all time. All this to say, for the longest time, I adored Nintendo and their games. Mario was my entire childhood, with the exceptions of a handful of Sonic and Lego games that were ported onto the Nintendo systems that I owned. Mario was the only game franchise that I was able to access, and I was fine with that. The games were so much fun. They were full of content and personality. The music was some of the best I've heard from any media, not just games. The Galaxy games were the mainline titles for the Wii, and they were complete packages with no DLC, absolutely packed with content. They were polished to an incredible degree. You don't have to know much about video games to tell that so much love went into these games, and almost every Nintendo game. But lately, something's changed. Nintendo isn't the same company I grew up with. Like most people, I eagerly awaited the release of the Switch 2. I had a Switch 1 and had poured countless hours into it with my siblings, playing Smash Bros, Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, and more recently, I got my hands on the Thousand Year Door remake, which was a game I had never gotten to experience as I didn't have a GameCube. The TTYD remake was beautiful. It was the first game in so long that actually made me feel something while I was playing it. And I was so excited for future Nintendo games, and I was saving up to buy the Switch 2 when it came out. Then it came out. Okay, sure. The Switch 2 looked and seems more like a Switch Pro, but the new Mario Kart looks really cool, and we're getting better hardware to fix the performance issues with Tears of the Kingdom and the newer Pokemon games. I couldn't wait to get one. Until $450 for the console, $90 for Mario Kart, $30 patch fees to make your games actually use the better hardware, $90 for a Pro Controller, $99 for Joy-Cons, $55 for a camera nobody's going to use. So, in order to get the Switch 2, Mario Kart, the new Donkey Kong, and some extra controllers so that your kids can play together, you'll have to spend $759 before tax and without the $20 DLC for Donkey Kong and the inevitable booster course pass for Mario Kart World that will cost $25 to $30. Oh, and don't forget a Nintendo Switch Online subscription so you can play with your friends online and play those sweet retro games you bought 4 times already. Good God, man. Nintendo has become the Disney of gaming, a company so obsessed with protecting its image and milking nostalgia that it's forgotten what made people love it in the first place. They've spent decades building up goodwill with their fans, and now that the kids that grew up playing their games in the 80s, 90s, and early 2000s are getting grown up money, they're exploiting their fans' nostalgia to jack up the prices of their games and hardware. Nintendo is an industry leader. They set the standard that all other game companies have to live up to. And now they are scalping their customers. Xbox, PlayStation, and every other game studio are raising their prices. Xbox has recently raised the price of the Xbox Series X from $500 to $650 and raised the price of Game Pass from $20 a month to $30 a month. Nintendo is no longer breaking ground and innovating to be the best. They are cashing in on all the goodwill they have built up and are using it to squeeze every dollar out of consumers. So, no, I will not buy a re release of Mario Galaxy 1 and 2 for $70, no matter how much I love those games. If we support Nintendo, even when they're laughing in our faces and charging outrageous prices for half finished games or games with base game content locked behind a paywall, they will continue to do so. I will not renew my Nintendo Switch Online subscription. I can already play all the retro games they offer on my 3DS XL, and none of my friends even have Switches, so why would I pay for online? I will not be going to see the new Mario Galaxy movie when it comes out. Why would I give them money for something that will be free on streaming eventually? And that's the worst part. I don't want to feel this way. I wanted to keep loving Nintendo, but now I hate them. They're pushing out low effort slop content and charging ridiculous prices for it, and carving up good games that they have so they have extra content to sell us later. Nintendo games are getting paid DLC announced before the games are even released, which tells you everything you need to know. You cannot convince me that the Donkey Kong Island and Emerald Rush DLC for Bonanza wasn't cut from the base game so that they could have something to sell as DLC after the game came out. Nintendo has lost my interest and my loyalty. I'm currently working my way through Mario and Luigi Brothership and the Mario RPG remake, and they'll likely be the last new Nintendo content I consume for a while. And that's sad. I wanted to buy a Switch 2, and I wanted to play Mario Kart World and Donkey Kong Bonanza, but when I look at Nintendo's business practices as of recent, I can't bring myself to financially support them anymore. If you bought a Switch 2, this isn't an attack on you. I'm genuinely glad you're enjoying what Nintendo makes. Honestly, I'm jealous. I want to love them again. But until they change, I'll be sticking with Sonic and Silk Song. Hey, if you made it this far into the video, I just want to say thank you. If you enjoyed, I'd really appreciate it if you could subscribe. I'm about halfway to 1,000 subscribers at the time of writing this script, and I would really like to be able to reach that milestone. If I haven't earned your subscription, I understand, but I'd appreciate it if you could at least drop a like and maybe check back with me when I upload again. I'm sorry that the first video of mine that you'll see is so negative. I generally try to be more positive with my content, but I feel compelled to make this video, and here we are. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you around.